Scams in 2025 have hit an all-time high, and heading into 2026, you better keep eyes on your bank account. All across the globe, people are losing thousands upon thousands of dollars with no end in sight. It's time for another reality check.
So I got scammed out of $700. I had a customer buy 2 dresses, which I handmade myself, and she bought 2 different sizes a week apart. It's actually pretty common in the USA. She's from the US, and I shipped them both straight away. They were delivered, no issues. This girl's followed me on Instagram for over a year. She's liked all my posts, and I get a chargeback from Shopify saying that she's claimed her transactions as fraudulent and the bank needs evidence that she actually purchased them herself. I thought it was clear as day. I send the Instagram activities showing like my photos she's liked, showing that she's followed me for over a year. I send all of the tracking details saying it was delivered to her. It even says it was signed off by her when it was delivered. I send everything, screenshots of everything. It was clear as day. So I put it in the back of my mind. I was like, that's fine. That's going to get closed. I'm not losing money. Next thing I know, 2 months later, Shopify's taken $700 out of my account. So they take back the fee, like the amount paid for the dresses, the shipping, which was like 50 USD because she paid express, and a 25 USD fee per garment or per order as like a admin fee. So an extra like $80. I was literally like, oh my God, what? Panic. So I follow her on Instagram because I'm like, surely this girl's posted something. And I do actually follow girls who buy from my brand every now and then because I love to see when people post. And I followed her. I wake up to a message the next morning from her being like, oh my God, hi gorgeous. I'm so in love with your brand. I love everything you do. I'm such a huge fan. Lovely. But what the hell? I'm immediately like, okay, she's like obviously got the dresses. She followed me back straight away. I messaged back being like, oh, like I actually sent you a message because I actually followed you because I was wanting to see if you posted any photos in the dress. No response. And I was like, okay, interesting. And then I followed it up one more time, no response. I messaged Shopify, and honestly, it's so hard to get in contact with Shopify considering how much you pay for a website. Anyway, and I told them everything, and they're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, this is so obvious that she's obviously received the dresses and that this is a scam. And I was like, yeah, okay, so what do I do? And they're like, I'm sorry, we can't do anything. You have to contact the bank, but the bank will help. I'm like, okay, great. It's JP Morgan Chase in America. They have Aussie contacts, and not really any contacts like by email for America. And I can't contact them by phone. So I call them multiple times. I get hung up on about 4 times. And they're like, we can't do anything. This is none of our business. Like, it's on you. We're not doing anything about it. We're not giving money back. And I was like, okay, cool. From this, I messaged this girl and I was like, hey, really weird, such a strange coincidence, but your transactions actually come back as fraudulent and you've claimed a chargeback and your bank's taken $700 from me. And she was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't know what happened. That wasn't me. I'll follow it up. And I was like, okay, great. So I don't hear from her for a couple of days, and I messaged her being like, hey, how'd you go? And she was like, oh, like I emailed them and they haven't replied. I'll let you know. I'm like, what the heck? So she's obviously admitted that she's received the dresses. I've tried to contact the bank multiple times. I've even sent the American bank like multiple kind of angry emails being like, this is not fair. Like, how can you just take $700? I didn't get a single say. I could not argue with anyone on Shopify. I didn't get to contact the bank. I didn't get to see her evidence. Like, I did not get to see anything. It was literally just like, yeah, so she's claimed a chargeback. Okay, thanks for the money, bye. That's it. How is that fair? And like, mind you, that's $700 they've taken from me, but she still has 2 dresses, which is another $500 plus the $50 shipping that I've already paid. So I'm literally out like $1,250. I don't know if there's even anything else I can do, but I thought I may as well post in case someone knows any way I can get my money back, because I wouldn't mind, because it's my time and my money. And it's really disheartening. If anyone has any ideas, please let me know. Surely there is something else I can do.
I got fucking scammed. Wait till you hear the crack. So I'm sitting yesterday, let me set the scene. I'm rushing like fuck, trying to get my makeup done. And I'm halfway putting an eyelash on, and next thing my phone starts ringing and it says no caller ID. And I think to myself, I'm not answering you today. So I didn't bother answering, kept trying to put my eyelash on my eyeball. They hang up after maybe 5 or 6 rings, and then they immediately call again. I thought, that's very urgent, so maybe I'll answer. So I answered, and it's like, hello, this is XYZ from the Santander fraud department or something. I was like, red flags, because you know there's scammers going about these days. So I thought, hold on, can I just stop you right there before we discuss any information? Can I like get anything to make sure that this is legitimate? Can you like forward me something or anything that the bank would have that could send, like, you know, make it legit? So he sends me a message with a one-time passcode. Now, if I had any brains in my head, I would have went back and checked my previous one-time passcode message where it always says, we will never ask you for a one-time passcode. Anyway, got a message from, it said Santander at the top, the whole thing. Clicked into it, it didn't have a mobile number, it just said Santander. So it came up and I didn't read it fully, but I was like, oh right, okay, that's good. Like I got a message from him, like he was able to send me that. And then I was like, could I get something else as well? Then he sends me an email. And the email is from a Santander account that had previously emailed me in 2018 when I initially had opened my Santander account. So of course I was thinking this is pure legit, because like I've previously got emails from these people before. So now that was fine. Then he proceeds with the conversation and he tells me that someone has tried to make a £300 purchase on my account, and this is flagged up because it's for timber or something like that. And he was like, and you know, we thought that this was suspicious activity, so we wanted to make sure with you that this was legit. Now when I'm thinking back, I'm like, normally they would send you an email to be like, can you confirm that this is you and all? But anyway, forget about it. I was panicking. And so that was fine. And I was like, oh gosh, no, that's definitely not me. And he was like, and then there was a purchase for $69.99 for Argos as well. Was that yourself? And I was like, no, definitely not me. Haven't bought anything from Argos recently. So then of course I'm like, oh my God, thank God for calling me. Then he starts asking me questions and he's like, have you recently, I just want to do a bit of security checking, you know, have you recently received any strange phone calls and given card details out? I was like, no. He was like, have you downloaded and logged into any strange apps recently? I was like, no. I was like, he was like, has anyone asked you to download any strange app? I was like, nope. And then there was one other question, I can't remember what it was. He's like, have you gave your details or bought anything recently that seemed suspicious? And I was like, no. So thing continues on, and then he starts going through all my previous bank things that I have bought on my Santander account and was like, okay, we're just going to go through these. I want you to confirm and deny if this was yourself to make sure that there hasn't been any other fraudulent activity on your account. Goes through them all, and of course I'm sitting here thinking, of course he's from the bank, he's going to have access to all this stuff, obviously. And it was like Amazon Prime, credit union, blah blah blah, all this different stuff that I had paid for. And I was like, yep, that was me, confirm. All good vibes. And he's like, right, okay, so it seems like the suspicious activity has only started today. I was like, right, okay. Then I started asking him, I'm like, do you normally call off a no caller ID? And he was like, yeah, like it's normally a secure line and all this here. Of course, me looking back now, I'm like, oh my God, dickhead. And because you can set your own phone as no caller ID. So continues on. He was British as well. Like it wasn't like he had like a foreign twang or anything. Like he was a British person calling me. And this went on. Next thing then, he's like, okay, just let me put you on hold a second. I just want to check some things. So he puts me on hold. So of course you're thinking even more. I had music and everything. And then as this goes on, he comes back on again and he's like, right, okay, we just have a few more things we need to do to make sure that your card is still safe. And then I'm thinking back now, I'm like, why am I such a dickhead? And he's like, do you still have your card? You haven't lost it or anything? I was like, yes, I still have my card. It's in my possession. He was like, right, okay, I just need the middle 8 digits. He was like, we don't want the first, we don't want the last 4, just the middle 8. So, which I've never thought that would, like, you would think if he'd asked you for the full thing, it would be a bit scary biscuits. But in my head, I was like, all right, everything up till now has been legit. Like, it's felt like so real. So I gave him the middle 4 digits off the card. Then he asked me for the back 3. Again, I'm not thinking that this is an issue. Dickhead. And so I give him the 3 on the back, and that's fine. He's like, that's perfect. We're not going to have to do anything with your card. You can keep using that card. But what we'll do is we'll reset your login ID for your mobile banking so you won't have access to that for a few days. I get an email that says, thank you for resetting your login details, which I did not read properly at the time, which obviously means I didn't have access because I didn't know my fucking logins because they had them and they reset them. Anyway, I'm sitting today. Didn't think any more of it yesterday. All good in the hood. I'm sitting with Owen and we're having lunch together, and I was telling him the crack and telling him the thing with the phone call because I hadn't got a chance to catch up with him yesterday because I was away at that event. And I was telling him, and then he was talking about one person that this had happened to before, and then they started using his card. Like he didn't even notice because they were only using like small transactions for like Ubers and Uber Eats and stuff, but he hadn't really looked at his bank transactions to notice it. And so basically someone had called him, same sort of situation, and he gave him the details or whatever and just didn't think anything of it. So that was fine. Then I thought maybe I'll just show Owen the messages to make sure that he thinks it's okay. I type in the Santander into my messages and 2 different profiles come up, and I was like, hold on, why has this come from 2 different profiles? Now I'm nervous. And so I tap into the one, and one of them has only the 2 messages that I received yesterday, and the other one has all my previous one-time passcodes. So immediately I was like, that's such a red flag, because why didn't it come from the same Santander number that would normally text me? And the messages that then came from it don't match the same. Like, it was so similar, but there were certain things in it that weren't the same. And so then when I went to the email was weird too, because why was I getting reset logins from an email that was sent me from 2018? And I hadn't received any correspondence from this email since 2018. So that was 5 years. So I was like, no, something's off here. And then I went to go on to my mobile banking app and I couldn't log in. I didn't understand. I was like, no, something's off. So I go and I ring Santander, like the actual Santander, and tell them the crack. And they're like, yeah, they've actually used your account to buy things from Argos yesterday. They spent £30 something in Argos, and then they spent, because I have a different app where I can see this then, so I went into it and checked, because all my accounts are in one app called Snoop, and I can see them then. Fuck's sake. So, saying that they had spent $69.99 in Argos and 30 something in Argos yesterday after the phone call, £100, but Santander were really, really good. They tried, I was on the phone for about 45 minutes, got cut off, had to ring them again, but they've reset the card, reset the login details, all G, and hopefully I'll get my money back in maybe a couple of weeks' time. But anyway, that's the crack. Don't get scammed like me. Anyway, whatever you do, be aware of the scammers. And Santander said as well that they would never ask you for the one-time passcode. So, and they also would like send you a message if they were going to call you about like fraudulent activity as well. So, if you ever think something's a scam, trust your gut and hang up on them fuckers, because they'll probably ring you back. Okay?
This is your annual friendly reminder to watch out for scams so that you don't lose $9,000 of your hard-earned money like I did last year. I consider myself to be a fairly intelligent person, and before this scam happened to me, I would have said that would never happen to me, and yet it did. So I want to warn everybody else. So here are some things to be aware of. Number 1, your bank isn't going to call you about fraud on your account. They may send you an email, and they may send you a text, or they may freeze your account, whatever. They're never going to call you. If you do receive an email or a text from your bank, what you think is your bank, make sure you call your bank to check and make sure that it's real, that it's a real fraud that's happening. My scammer was incredibly sophisticated. He first initially sent me a text that looked very official. It said, did you make the following charges? One was a large wire for $9,000. The other one was a charge from prison for like $50 or something like that. And I responded to the text message, no, and then they called me. I was so flustered in that moment, I thought the call was someone from my bank, and they sounded super official on the phone and introduced themselves, said I'm from Bank of America, blah, blah, blah. I even went into my bank account and saw the charge from the prison that was pending that I didn't make. I was like, whoa, this is like obviously very real. This is a real fraud that's about to go down. I need to make sure it doesn't happen. This is the part where I'm going to sound really stupid, but thing to look out for. Number 2, never send a wire to anyone that you don't know personally and have verified information from. Never send someone a wire. That money goes through instantly and you will never see it again. So my scammer said that there was a $9,000 wire transfer pending that he could see on his end. I couldn't see it on my end, but he could see it on his end. And the only way to reverse that was for me to send the wire to the bank so then they could send it back to me. I know how stupid this sounds, and you're like, how did you fall for that? I don't know. I was panicked in the moment, and I was just doing what they told me because I thought they worked for the bank. And I had never even sent a wire before, so I didn't know how it worked. Thing to watch out for, number 3, if they create a false sense of urgency or start getting irritated with you or being like, this is how you have to do it when you start to question things, that is a humongous red flag. They create a false sense of urgency so that you don't have time to use your critical thinking skills, which I didn't do. All of my instincts were like, this is wrong, I shouldn't do this, I don't trust this. But again, I thought I was speaking to someone who was a trusted bank employee, so I was following their directions. Anyway, if they start getting like impatient or irritated, like be like, you know what, this call's over, like, let me take a breath, and then call the bank back, and you'll see that, they'll be like, what are you talking about? We didn't call you. This last message is for any Bank of America employees. Why would you not verify wire transfers before they get sent? Why would they ever instantly go through? That is insane. Most transactions take a day or two of processing. Why wouldn't a wire transfer take a day or two of processing so that if you make the mistake I did, you can stop it before it happens? Because I went to my bank an hour after my fraud and they could do nothing. Which leads me to my last tip. So anything having to do with like wire transfers, nothing can be done after 2 p.m. I don't really know why. They just like stop doing business with transfers after 2 p.m. Pacific time. So my scammer knew that. Again, very intelligent. So they scammed me like at 1 p.m. knowing that they would be able to get it in time before 2 p.m. and that if I were to go to my bank immediately, which I did, I wouldn't be able to stop the transfer from happening. I wouldn't be able to like intercept it. So a little caveat to what I said previously, they go through instantly after 2 p.m. If you can catch it before 2 p.m., then you can intercept it. But otherwise, boom, that money just gets sent. No one asks any questions, even though it's like 3 times the amount of money you would ever send to someone that way. I had $9,000 set aside for taxes because I'm on a 1099 and I don't get my taxes taken out of any of my paychecks. So I needed that money to pay for taxes. It took me all year to pay my taxes for 2024 because I had all the money set aside for taxes taken from me. Anyway, I don't want it to happen to you guys, so stay safe, friends.
I've seen 2 videos just today about fraudulent bank charge scams, so please watch this and please share it with your loved ones. In the first video, a girl is talking about how her sister was just scammed out of her entire life savings after she got a text from Citibank saying that there was some suspicious activity on her account. The text gave an option to either ignore the charges or proceed yes and flag the charges. She replied yes to flag the charges and then immediately got a call from Citibank. Yes, the legit number for Citibank. If you haven't heard of it, there is something called spoofing where they can actually make it look on your phone like they are calling from the legit number, whether that is a bank or even one of your family members. I've talked about this before when I went over the scam where a girl received a call from her sister's actual phone number and a guy said that he had kidnapped her sister and that she needed to pay him, but he did not have her sister, he was just spoofing her. If you ever receive a call from your bank or from a loved one saying that they were kidnapped or that they were in an accident and something crazy like that, hang up and call back that real number because they can call you and make it look like it's coming from the legit number. But if you call back the legit number, it will actually go to that person. In the second video, the lady talks about how she got a call from Chase Bank's legit number that they have posted online, also claiming that her account potentially had fraudulent charges. They read off some bogus charges and she said that no, they weren't hers. They asked her to confirm how much money she had in a bank account and she made up a random number and they said, yes, this is what I am seeing on my end. And then they said they'd send her a debit card and actually had a real address. Luckily, she went in and checked with Chase Bank and they said her account is completely fine and that a lot of people have been falling for this scam and that a lot of people have been taken from their whole life savings. So again, if you get a text or a call from your bank saying that there are fraudulent charges on your account, do not respond to the text, do not answer the call your bank directly.
So it just dawned on me that I didn't even tell you guys what company it was that scammed me yesterday. Crusty people! If you're new here, I got scammed by a company. I sent them my personal details. Oh! Repeating this is finishing me, but I have to bring awareness, man. I sent them my passport, a selfie, and a payslip that definitely had my NI number on it. Oh! I've taken the necessary measures and reported everything. Action fraud, the credit agencies and HMRC are definitely aware. They said I got the job and they wanted to confirm information, right to work and stuff like that. And I've literally spoken to companies that have done this before, but the difference is I spoke to a person. However, it happens. This is the job advert that I came across. So guys, if you've applied for this job and you've sent in information, it's a scam. It's a scam. This is the rest of the advert. And then the bottom bit, there's a bit more as well, but you get the gist. And of course, on Company House, they were created when? In June this year. Oh! Anyway, guys, Guys, don't be like me, okay? If a job has been created in the last year, listen, just forget about it. Forget about it. Forget about it. Even if it's last year, or I don't even know. I just don't trust any company that hasn't been around for years. Like, I want to see 1990 something, you know what I mean? Don't get scammed like me, guys. Don't get scammed like me. And if you do apply for a job and you're not sure if it's fishy, listen, just trust your gut, honestly speaking, because most of the time, 9 times out of 10, you'll have a feeling that it's a scam, because I had that feeling and I ignored it. But if you are in doubt, just search it on Google. If you can't find anything, if the website itself looks bug and the company started in the current year we're in, it's fraud. It's fraud. Just forget it. And if they're asking you for personal information and you haven't even spoken to anybody, forget about it. But also, even if you've spoken to somebody, because these scammers also call people, do you get it? So even if they've called you, it can still be a scam. People are saying, oh, but you didn't even speak to anyone. Okay, but even if I spoke to somebody, they could have also scammed me. How many people get scammed through the phone? How many people get scam calls? How many people get scam calls? Hello? Okay, thank you. Anyway, don't be like me, don't get scammed.
Did you know that in a city as big as Berlin, while you're waiting for your tram or your train, you can actually get scammed? How? Well, you see that sticker there? Sometimes, if you scan it and you don't know what it is, you're giving hackers access to your phone. So be careful and don't scan things randomly.
I got scammed out of $500 and I'm going to tell you exactly what I learned from it. Number one, if it's sketchy in any way, shape, or form, like the tiniest bit sketchy, then it is probably a scam. And by probably a scam, I mean it is definitely a scam. The jewelry brand that scammed me basically said that they were going to give me an upfront payment of $300, and then they for some reason changed their minds to $500, and then they kept changing their minds. So even though, yes, they were technically giving me $500 instead of $300, it was a little funny, and that should have been my first red flag. There's just no room for being like, oh, well, they could have blah, or you just can't be reasonable in any way. Number two. The agent that I talked to from the fraud department at the bank said that from her experience, 100% of e-checks are fake. I was sent 2 e-checks, both $500, and both were fraudulent. And unfortunately, the bank, on good faith, cleared one of them, and so I thought it was free to spend. And so when the jewelry company that scammed me told me to send that money that was given to me on the first check for materials and supplies and shipping, I said yes, and that's how I lost $500. Number 3, they can steal identities. I actually called the jewelry company afterwards, and they told me that they got scammed and that there is an email circulating pretending to be them. And so, yeah, and they actually have an employee with that name who was messaging me like a real person, but it wasn't that person. So conclusion, am I happy about this? No. But did I learn a lot from it? Absolutely. So if I can help one person out there not get scammed out of $500, bottom line, if you have even half of a thought that this is a scam, then it is a scam.
I just got scammed $5,000 and I want to talk about it. First of all, I know people are gonna be like, you're so freaking dumb. Okay, I know, I'm the one that lost $5,000. I'm well aware now. I'm making this video for awareness, but also for help. If someone has unfortunately gone through this before or knows of someone and they know what to do and they somehow got their money back, or even if you didn't, like, I just want to hear where to move on from here. To the police, and I've gone to the bank and there isn't much answers, and I know that it's really case by case, but I'm just doing what I can right now. Here I am. Scammer basically called me yesterday and was like, do you know who I am? First of all, I know it's really obvious from that. He sounded like my boss, so I didn't even question it. This morning, he called me and he was like, oh, I changed my number. Do you know how to set up a new pay now with your new number? At the call, you see how he's setting up, like he changed his number and then he doesn't know how to set up a new bank account. Before you go like, why the hell are you just doing whatever this person says? He's my boss. I work as a personal assistant and he does finance. To me, it made sense that as a personal assistant of a finance guy, he would need me to transfer things here and there. After 4,000 of transfer, he asked for more, but I had a daily limit of like 1,000 and I had 977 left. So I transferred my last 977. To me, it's like maybe he's refunding someone, like it's all finance things. I don't know anything about finance. I only got suspicious when he asked for 10,000. And you know what is so freaking dumb of me? I literally asked him, are you a scammer? And he was like, no. And I was like, okay. After I found out, I continued talking to him because I didn't want him to like run and transfer the money elsewhere. Although I feel like he would have done that already. I went to the police like 20 minutes after I transferred the funds because that's when I realized I got scammed. But they told me after the calls and the talks is like, I submit my police report, confirm that I was scammed, something like that. They would then send something to the scam bank account, some notification. The bank cannot take the money out of the scammer's bank unless the scammer approves, which in my head, why would the scammer? I don't know if like this notification thing will threaten to police investigate or something, but in my head it was that easy. Like if the bank can just tell all the scammers like, you give back the money or we call police, then no one will be scammed already, right? I'm also pretty sure that I may not get my money back. This is also awareness, okay? I would say I was really complacent. I thought I'm really tech savvy as a Gen Z. You know, when my grandma like pulls up something and I'm like, that's obviously a scam. I would never fall for a scam. I fell for a scam. So that's one thing. Don't be too complacent just because you're young and you think you're well versed with technology. It's so easy when you're like caught in the moment and they really set it up. You just don't think.
Getting scammed sucks, but what you do immediately right after can make or break how much damage you face. Here are 3 things to do right now if you have just gotten scammed. Number 1, cut them off. Block their number, emails, socials, everything. Just like your toxic ex, scammers feed off emotional manipulation. So no closure, just block. Number 2, lock it down. Change all of your passwords. I mean, Instagram, email, Venmo, maybe even that Tumblr account from middle school. Add 2-factor authentication using apps like Duo or Microsoft. Also, contact your credit bureau, Equifax, Experian, or TransUnion to freeze your credit if you shared sensitive info. And number 3, report it fast. Call your bank or credit card company to freeze or reverse sketchy transactions. If you used a credit card or an insured payment option like PayPal Goods and Services, report the transaction and file a refund claim. If you use your debit card, report it to your bank immediately because you could still limit your liability and maybe get your money back. But you better act fast now. And if the scam happened on some app like Instagram or Snapchat, report it to the social media platform, please. Even if you're embarrassed and a refund isn't an option because of your payment method, reporting can still help stop the scammer from targeting someone else next. Oh, and one more thing. You are not dumb for falling for a scam, but you will feel much better once you take back control and learn how to protect yourself from the next one. If I were you, I would save this video just because you think it's not gonna happen to you until it does.
All of my money was just stolen. Today I was the victim of phone fraud. Somebody called saying that they were from my bank, from the fraud department of my credit card, that there were fraudulent charges on my card. He asked to verify, he verified them, asked me if I did them, and I said no, and then he said, okay, I'm gonna cancel your card right away, like, I'm gonna help you out, don't worry about it. He somehow already had access to, like, see my transactions on that card, so he went through, like, the most recent ones, and asked me, like, is this legitimate, is this legitimate? I was like, yes, like, that I know. And then he somehow got access to, I didn't give him any passwords, nothing. He, like, already had stuff. He just asked me for, like, normal verification questions. And he was somehow able to access my account, and he wiped my checking and my savings clean. I've reported it to BMO fraud. And I'm going to the police station now to report it as well. Just be so careful when people call you. Please, just be careful.